Namaskaram. The main purpose of the Listen and Learn series is to make you understand and play the instrument by sharpening your listening skills. In today's exercise, I have written down a Datu Varisai with a few variations of it. Now, this exercise is going to make your rapport with your instrument much stronger, learn the ragam, talam, and also be able to improve your creative skills. So the pitch I have got here for you is E, pitch E. And I also want you all to tune your instrument fully, because many a times when you send your exercises for me to listen to, I realize that the veena is not properly tuned. So if my first string is tuned to E like this, see that the entire veena starting from the fourth string, pa, sa, the four main playing strings and the talam strings. So once they are wonderfully harmonized, playing itself becomes a very pleasurable and happy activity. So we go to the lesson. Now on the screen you can see the full lesson. So you have about 20 tala cycles in this lesson. If you see sarigari, riga maga on the first line, 8 notes. If you play it on the first speed, it is 1 tala cycle in Adi Talam. So the talam here is going to be Adi Talam, and we are going to play it in 2 ragams. One is going to be Maya Malagaule, and the next one is going to be the mirror image of Maya Malagaule with Pratimadhyamam. That will be Pantuvaradi. So along with learning these lessons, you are also going to get used to the Melakarta ragas, the numbers of the Melakarta ragas. This is going to strengthen your understanding of the raga system in Carnatic music. So if Maya Malagaule is Melakarta number 15, its counterpart in the Pratimadhyamam is Pantuvarali, which is 51. So remember these numbers. As you are learning these lessons, it's very important that you remember these numbers and the names of the ragas. So you're going to play this Datu Varisai with 3 variations in 2 ragas, and the talam is Adi Talam. So now on the screen you have the full lesson. I have written this down, so you can understand that you can also create your own Datu Varisai, your own practice exercises, and this is going to help when you come to the senior levels. It is going to help you to do your Manodharma, the Raga Alapanas, the Kalpana Swarams, Tanams, etc. really well. So the understanding, if it comes at this stage itself, it is going to be of great help to you as you move forward in your lessons. Now this is for the juniors, people who are in the basic levels and maybe the starting of the intermediate levels. Those who are into Varnams, maybe 3-4 Varnams, and possibly into the advanced lessons, they are going to find this particular lesson also useful. If your talam is not good enough, you can practice 3 speeds of this lesson. Get your talams tightened out. You will understand the ragas better. You will understand the creative aspect of how to play a ragam, how to play the notes, how to bring up. Maybe you can create your own lessons, add more to the 3 patterns that I have given, and then post it in the comments section. So throughout, right from the basic students to the advanced level students, this lesson is going to be of great help. So again you are seeing there are 20 lines to this lessons, which means 20 tala cycles if you play it in the first speed. First speed is 1 note per beat. Adi Talam, 8 beats. So you'll play 1 note per beat, and that is your first speed. The second speed, of course, is playing 2 notes per beat. And the third speed will be 4 notes per beat. All of this I have explained in detail in many videos of mine, both in the Watch and Play series and now in the Listen and Learn series as well. So you can go and check it up if you have any doubts about playing 3 speeds of the Veda. Now this lesson is Sarigari Riga Maga Sagarisa Sarigama. Just take the first two lines. The first two lines are dealing with four notes Sarigama. So with Sarigama we have made 16 notes, that is 2 tala cycles. Now I want you all to remove all the even number lines from this big lesson. Remove all the even number lines and you will get a new lesson which will look like this. Sa ga re sa re ga ma re ga ma pa ga ma pa da ni da pa da ni sa. And then on the return, sa da ni sa ni da pa da ni da pa da pa ma ga ma pa ma re ga ma ga re sa. So this is a new lesson that has been created from the bigger lesson, just removing the even number lines. Now we go to the next slide where you will see that I have created 2 more new lessons just based on these even number lines. In the first lesson I said Sagarisa Sarigama. Now the same thing I am saying Sagari Sarigama. Again I am reminding you, this is just the even number lines from the big lesson that I showed you in the first slide. So introducing Janda Varasa, you get sa ga re sa re ga ma pa ga ma pa da, and so on. Now the third lesson that I have created based on this is with a pause now. Sa ga ma pa ga ma pa da pa da ni. See how you can get creative just by changing and shifting one or two notes here and there. You got a completely new lesson. Now on the slide you can see all these 3 side by side, and these are just the even number lines of the bigger lesson. So we'll practice all of these 3 lessons first in 3 speeds and in 2 ragas. So imagine the kind of exposure and practice that you're getting both for the raga as well as the talam. 3 speeds of the talam. On the metronome, you can set the metronome to Adi talam 8 beats and 40. Keep the speed at 40. So that 40 will be your first speed. When you play 2 notes per beat on the 40, it will be 80 second speed. And then 4 notes on the 40, it will be 160 third speed. You can also conversely play on the jalra, where you can set the jalra to 80. On the first count will be 8, that is Adi Talam. Style will be basic 1. The speed will be 80 and the pitch will be E. So people who are adept at playing with jalra can use jalra. The other ones, the beginners and the ones who are still not exposed to jalra, can play these lessons with the metronome. So now I am going to play the first lesson in the 3rd speed alone. But I am going to play it in 2 cycles. The first cycle will be in Maya Malagavle. The second cycle is going to be in Pantuvarali. See the change in the ragam, and I am also going to use a little bit of gamakam. Try to follow it. As far as the gamakams is concerned, On the veena, many a times gamakams are done either by pushing the note within a note, like in this case, sa, ga, re, sa. So I push the ga in re itself to get the intonation of the ga. Double strike in sa on the second string. For the first strike it is sa, for the second strike push the ga into re. Then sa re ga ma is played. Now re ma ga re, 2 strikes in re and push the ma in ga. The same you do with ga pa ma ga, double strike in ga, push the pa in ma. This is a note within a note gamaka. Now there is another way of doing the gamaka by connects. I gave 2 strikes in ga, sa, ga, re, sa. The re was connected from ga. So double strike in ga, 1 for ga and 1 to go to re. Re, ma. 2 strikes in re, 1 for re and 1 to go to ma. So this is the connect method. The earlier one was the note within a note method. So this can give out very, very good aesthetic of the output of the raga can be brought out through these 2 simple techniques for this stage of your learning. So now I am going to play the second variation. This is the Janda Varisai factor. Do notice how the Janda Varisai needs to be handled, and I am going to play again 2 ragas. So these were the 2 lessons with the metronome. Now the third lesson, which has got the pauses. Once again I am mentioning to you, these are not the full Dhat Varisai lesson. These are just the even number lessons where I have created 3 new varieties for you, just to show you how creativity should be handled in Carnatic music. So you have the sa, ga, re, sa, re, ga, ma. Now I am going to go with the Jalra. I have set the Jalra to 80 BPM. The pitch is E, basic 1. And I am going to again play 2 ragas here, third speed. How simple it gets, how interesting it gets. Listening, and when you're listening and learning, your focus is much more sharper than when you are watching what you're learning. So now we go into the integration of these smaller lessons into the 3 larger Dhat Varisais that we can create from these 3 varieties that we have practiced so far. Now on the screen you're going to see the bigger lesson. The bigger, larger lesson is going to involve an extra line for each one of these lines that we have played now. If you had noticed the smaller lessons where the total lesson itself was 10 lines, now this is 20 lines. So where did the additions come? Look at each one of these two lines. Now mark two lines separately. Sarigari, Rigamaga, Sagarisa, Sarigama. That will be one pocket for you, which involves that Sarigama, 4 notes Sarigama. So Sarigari, Rigamaga, Sagarisa, Sarigama. Now the Sagarisa Sarigama, which is the second line, this was the one we had done in the first variation that I showed you. I showed you 3 variations of even number lines. This was of the first variation. So you continue doing this lesson as it is given there on your screen. Do it for all 3 speeds. Now we go to the next lesson. This is the next screen where you have the same lesson, but here the difference is that even number lines have changed. It is instead of Saga Ri Sa Sarigama, the second line is Saga Ri Ri Sarigama. So you remember what we did? I told you to do that Janda Varisai lesson. Now that I have incorporated that in this new lessons. Sariga Re Re Ga Ma Ga Saga Re Re Sarigama Ma Re Ga Ma Ga Ga Ma Pa Ma Re Ma Ga Ga Re Ga Ma Pa. So on. Practice this lesson again in all 3 speeds, both in Maya Malagavlai, 15th Melakarta, and Pantuvarali, 51st Melakarta. And then you go to the third slide. Third lesson, the larger lesson, is going to involve that pause. The variation where we had given pause. Remember the small lesson where we had given pause? Now that has been incorporated into this third lesson. So you have a sa re ga re re ga ma ga sa ga re sa re ga ma. Look at it. This is creativity. Very small changes that we have done, but it has dramatically improved the way the Dhatu Varisai is being spelt out. The way you'll handle it on your instrument. At the end of it, I am very sure that your rapport with your instrument gets stronger, your understanding of ragas and the way you handle ragas becomes better, you become more perfect with your talam, and above all, the creative aspect of Carnatic music, it's the most important aspect of Carnatic music that you have to handle as you go into the advanced lessons. That becomes, you understand that much better. I would be very happy if any of you can create more new lessons with this particular Dhatu Varisai and post it in the comments section for others to use. Until I see you next, thank you and best wishes.